Do you ever wake up as a Windows XP computer with 2 MB of RAM and then you get bullied by literally everyone because Nerd could nerf the living shit out of you? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone, so that's why I have created this nerd but yet simple guide that will teach you everything from basic maneuvering to advanced strategies that will help you genocide everybody in the facility. So without any further wait, let's get right into it. Firstly, let's get over some basics. When you spawn as SCP-079, you'll get this annoying intro which you can disable in the settings in order to save time. You can move around in your screen by just moving your mouse, but I will highly recommend holding down space in order to move more smoothly and precisely. However, you also have a map which you can open by pressing tab. You can use this map to move large distances and to track your teammates. However, keep in mind that this uses a lot of power, so if you're allowed here, don't instantly teleport across the whole facility as you lose all of your power and have to wait 1000 years in order to recharge it. Instead, you can move room by room and this way use no power. Sure, it might be a bit slower, but you have little power at tier 1, so I would advise utilizing this technique. The first thing you wanna do when you spawn is to locate your teammates and guide them to the nearest light containment elevator. Sometimes they get lucky and you can just tell them to turn left and they'll find it right away, but sometimes you might have to give longer instructions. This is where the ping ability comes in handy. If you're struggling explaining directions to them or don't have a microphone, just mark the way with pings by pressing E. This costs little power, but they do have a limit and a cooldown, so don't spam them randomly. Now, you're basically the mastermind of the SCP team, so don't feel bad, how do I say, kindly giving out orders. They aren't obliged to follow them, but trust me, you will work much efficiently as a team this way, so give it a shot. Anyways, when you reach light containment, start searching around for victims. This shouldn't be too hard, however, make sure to be as discreet as possible. For example, don't stare down the people in 914, because as soon as they see a blue camera staring at them, they will know they are fucked, and if they are on stupids, they will run right for the exit. So that's why you should just quickly peek if there's people in popular rooms, and then instruct your teammates to them. These rooms are all dead ends and a perfect place to genocide players. Assuming you were successful at this, you should have gained quite some XP. For example, for simply witnessing a murder of a human, even if you don't do anything, you'll get XP. However, this varies per class. As the class D and guards are the most handicapped and expendable, you'll only get 15 XP for witnessing their death, unlike the Chaos and MTF where you'll get 25 XP. However, if you assist in the murder in any way, such as interacting with a door or elevator, or even just pinging them, you'll get double the XP. So when you see your teammates are murdering people, make sure to either close the doors on their victims or simply just ping them in order to level up as fast as possible. This XP is used in order to level up your access tier. As SCP-079, you have 5 access tiers. You start at level 1, which grants you very little powers and capabilities, unlike tier 5 where you have the power to literally bully everyone in every way possible. That's why you wanna get as much XP as possible before enemies with actual means of defending themselves spawn, as your team can easily get tracked if they are not careful. However, let's go over the tiers real quickly and what their abilities unlock. At tier 2, your max power will slightly be increased, but the best part is that your power generation speed has been doubled, which means you will be able to actually move around the facility without losing all your power in 2 seconds. You also unlock the blackout ability. This ability costs 40 power points and will turn off all lights in one room for 10 seconds. This is extremely useful if you have a SCP-173 teammate or just want to disorient enemies that are fighting your team. However, at tier 2 you can only do this in one room at a time, and it's pretty harmless without you being able to lock doors. Besides this, you will also be able to tell the difference between civilian and military targets left in the facility. This can help you narrow down where the last targets are, because for example, if there is one civilian left, it's very likely he's somewhere in light containment, as that's where they spawn. Or if it's a military class, it's the most likely they are in entrance zone, as that's where they spawn and have to pass through if they are MTF or Chaos. Anyways, enough yapping, let's talk about tier 3. Now this is where the fun begins. Your power generation speed gets doubled again, so you'll rarely find yourself out of power unless you spam certain abilities. However, the best part about this tier is that you unlock the ability to lock doors. With this ability, you can easily guarantee the kill of anybody, cause well, what the hell are they gonna do when you lock a 4-inch steel door in their face? By locking a door, you'll temporarily lose 1/5 of your maximum power, and your power will start draining at a rate that will increase depending how long you held it locked. This ability should allow you to much more quickly level up to other tiers. However, be careful with this ability. I wouldn't advise fully draining your power by locking a door, since you never know when you'll need large amounts of power in order to save a teammate. Only fully dedicate on locking a door with all of your power if you know what you're doing or if it will grant your team a big kill combo. Besides this, now you'll be able to see the individual count of every human in the facility, and your teammates will go from looking like squares to these cool pointer thingies that show their exact position in real time. At tier 4, your power stats get increased, but most importantly, you unlock the lockdown ability and the breach scanner. Lockdown is an ability which allows you to lock every door in a room for 7 seconds. However, this will cost you 100 power and stop your generation for the duration of this lockdown. Due to this massive expense of the ability, you should prioritize manually locking individual doors and only using this ability when you wanna take down multiple armed targets. This ability is especially effective if used with a blackout, as locking somebody in a room with murderous entities whilst having no lights out should most certainly guarantee their death. Some people might have flashlights which can help them stay alive longer, but shouldn't save them from their fate. This ability is also great when combined with SCP-106, as he can walk in and out of an unlocked room whenever he wants to in case his HP gets low. The other really useful ability you unlock is is the breach scanner. You can activate the breach scanner for a specific zone on your map, however, for each active breach scanner, your power generation speed will be cut in half. Once the scanner is active in a zone, it will apply a small radius to every human in it. If the human doesn't move out of this radius after 20 seconds, they will trigger the breach scanner, and their position will be revealed by a loud ass fire alarm, and he and his role will be also displayed on your map for some time. This is extremely useful for finding players who are hiding or just holding a really strong position, because not only will you and your team know their position after that, but also humans hostile to them could jump in on the fun. You can also black out 4 rooms at once now, and the name of the SCPs will be displayed next to their pointer tracker thingy. So, you know, that's pretty cool. At this tier, your power generation gets increased to 6.9 power per second, which basically means you got infinite power now. You also unlock the ability to black out a whole ass zone, which makes the MTF's job 100 times harder and turns their experience into a Vietnam horror game, so make sure to do that as often as possible. You also unlock the ability to regenerate power whilst having an active lockdown, but only at half the rate, which basically makes you unstoppable. Like, you literally have infinite resources to tune everyone's existence into hell, and there's not too much they can do about it. However, this tier is extremely hard to unlock as the round usually ends before you manage to acquire the 1000 XP needed for this level, but yeah, if you manage to acquire this, you'll have a great time. Now that you know everything about yourself and your capabilities, let's go over some advanced strategies and general tips in order to maximize your chances of domination. Remember what I said about being discreet when checking popular rooms? Well, you should do the same with Tesla gates. Instead of constantly sitting at a Tesla gate, which will alert any human unless they are blind as the Teslas are sparking when you're in the room, you should instead teleport to rooms next to the Tesla, and if you see there's a human going in or if you hear the Tesla being charged, then you should quickly switch to the room and fry anybody who tries going through it. When switching cameras, your mouse usually gets put into the middle of the screen, so if you practice a bit, you should be able to hit the Tesla button almost instantly and jumpscare any humans. Teslas are also the best way of gaining XP as it counts a direct kill, which gives you 200% more XP than a kill assist. Anyways, allow me to save you the wait and tell you that the most advanced tip is being subscribed to me. You'll find plenty of guides on how to not only destroy the SCPs, but also how to become the most loved SCP SL player and so much other random stuff, so yeah. And also because the button makes a really cool animation when you do so. So trust me, hit the subscribe button and become depressed today, because you realize what you've been missing out on your whole life, surely. Anyways, let's continue with the tips. Remember how I talked about pings? Well, they can be used for much more besides general directions. You can ping grenades which are about to explode to warn your teammates. You can ping humans to show their position, which is really important if your teammates are blind or are playing SCP-99. You can also ping the micro if it's on the floor or if it's being used by another player. Speaking of the micro, you can also get XP by protecting your teammates from it. If the micro is 80% charged or more and you close a door between the micro and your teammates, you'll gain XP. You can also gain XP by closing doors between your teammates and humans that recently dealt more than 100 HP damage to them. The more there are humans attacking him, the more XP you'll gain. But anyways, let's go back to pings. You can also ping elevators, but most importantly your generators. This will be essential if you don't have a mic, as it's your only method of letting your teammates know that you're dying. Speaking of generators, don't be afraid to lose them. Sometimes it's fine letting them activate a generator which is in a spot that can be easily flooded and controlled by MTF. Especially if this generator is far away from others, which means your teammates will need to split up oftenly. Prioritize defending the generators which are more in the back of the facility and which will be hardly noticed and activated by humans. After a human activates your generator, make sure to not only scream at your team to deactivate it and give them directions to it, but also give the human death threats by holding V and do blackouts on him in order to hopefully intimidate him and demotivate him from messing with your generators again. Another important thing is to always utilize the checkpoint gates as much as possible. As the game progresses, most of your doors will get destroyed by grenades or similar, but the gates at the checkpoints are a place where MTF will often pass by, and as they can't get destroyed, they are a great tool to split up MTF and make your teammates' job easier. If you want to, at the start of the game, you can open the armor in light containment for the Class D. This way you can get a lot of free XP and just cause general chaos that will reduce the amount of targets very quickly. If you got the opportunity, you should try to trap people in rooms like these, as if they don't have a car, they will become a reserved meal for your teammates once you guide them to the room. This is especially effective inside the candy room, as very few people have the scientist card early on. The micro HID chamber is a great trapping option as well. Always make sure to watch out for SCP-2176, aka the ghost light. This light will be your biggest counter, as if a player throws it in a room you're watching, not only will you get disabled for 7 seconds, you will also lose all of your power, and any lockdowns or blackouts you did in a room will be reversed by the ghost light. So in case you see somebody holding this item, try to not look into the same room he is in and try to bait him into using it by locking him in and then quickly leaving the room. The other big counter for you is the nuke, as it will open all doors and blow you to bits, but it will also bring the fight to the surface zone where the SCPs have much less power and will likely get destroyed by any competent group of enemies. So that's why you wanna keep an eye out on the nuke room at all times and notify your team if it ever gets enabled. If somebody is constantly trying to enable the nuke, it's very likely somebody is on the surface zone waiting for him to activate it, so make sure to check that room for targets as well. In an unfortunate scenario that all 3 of your generators get activated, it's not necessarily over. You can keep an eye out on your room and lock it if anybody tries to go in. This will kind of turn your gameplay into FNAF, but well, it's required if you wanna survive. If your teammates are giga chads, pets, they may even volunteer to guard your room. When you reach tier 3 and your teammates turn into these pointers, you can tell if your 173 teammate is dealing with enemies if he suddenly stops moving on the map. This means he's being looked at, and if you want to get some free XP, I would advise going over to him and closing the door on the human and turning the lights off. Anyways, that was the last of the tips I had to yap. Do you have any tips or facts I forgot to mention, or do you just have a random shower thought? Well, make sure to let me know in the comments. Oh, and also please make sure to hit the subscribe button because this video took way too long to make, and you'll also get increased chances of getting an SCP-079 teammate with a mic the next time you play SCP, trust me. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.